Now, it's no secret that the censorious nature of Wizards of the Coast is something I strongly disagree with in the most strong way possible. As a player who has been banned for life from competing in any organized play or pre-releases for just simply sharing my opinion, one that the clique at Wizards of the Coast does not agree with and is their right to disagree with, I am particularly sensitive to how pathetic and how thin-skinned they really are. I've been on record many times talking about how boring Magic is to watch. When Wizards of the Coast came out a few years ago and talked about, oh, we're going to be a top 5 esport, I openly laughed. And I will continue to hold that position because I have been playing Magic since 1994. I know the game is boring to watch. There is few games, in my opinion, more exciting to play and less exciting to watch on the planet, which makes Magic the Gathering a huge underdog to be interesting to watch on stream. Now, during Grand Prix Las Vegas last week, viewership was hilariously low, but regardless of that fact, we had a round one matchup between Jordan Phillips and Maria Bartholdi. Now, you can argue, were there better matchups out there than two players who have never won anything? It seems likely. Is there a better matchup than mirrored Bogles to feature? You could make that argument. Now, I get featuring Maria. She has her fans. She is a Wotc shill. She is on their payroll. It does suck, in my opinion, to see nepotism at this level. I'm sure there are lots of players that would have loved to be featured, get their first feature match, that weren't already on the Wizards of the Coast payroll. This match was clearly not one people wanted to see, whether it was that they didn't care for Maria or didn't care to watch two players who have never won anything. The fact remains that most of the top-end players probably had buys in round one. So maybe it was the best, although it seems unlikely that there wasn't a better, at least, matchup out there. Interesting deck, especially in round one, a sleeper deck to watch, as opposed to mirrored Bogles, which is as boring and uninteractive as it gets. Fast forward to, I believe, after round one, and we have a hilarious interaction. Now, you're paid to commentate Rich Hagon, right? And Maria, these are paid commentators. And we have a moment where the commentator is reading the chat. A viewer makes what I think is a very fair assessment, and he then shames that player and bans him publicly. Wizards of the Coast bans are at it again. Let me flip over. So here we are in round one, 33-02, and I'm just going to let it roll here without the sound. You hear, I believe Maria just lost, and she actually
yes, you may have spotted those
gets up to commentate on her own match.
Not work as we intended there. So we'll try and get a hold of that for you, because it was indeed Maria Bartholdi who wins game.
Oh, she won. Okay.
So one of the features of ley lines is that people who put ley lines in their deck, when they have a ley line in their opening hand, are more inclined to keep
Gotta
that
have
in,
that pride rep.
They shouldn't necessarily do it because you have a ley line
Yeah.
in your opening hand.
It's a
That's
big game.
exactly what the card
Yeah,
says
yeah,
you're
yeah.
supposed to do. So I've seen people keep a lot of dubious hands with ley line, though I do not believe
And
Jordan
Maria's
Stevens
probably a
goes
fine
all-in.
Magic
Like,
player.
he mulliganed, to 6 or 5 and saw a hand of Bogle, ley line lands, snap keep.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Turned out Maria just had all that plus a bunch of auras.
So one of the things I've heard about Boggles is that probably like the most important decision with the deck.
All right.
Deck is actually choosing how.
Right here. Pretty cool that we're watching the most boring mirror match possible between two players that have never won anything. Nice feature match selection. Well, Sean Rusing should be entitled. Are people not allowed to critique? Are people not? It's not even like that is a personal attack. It's not like he said, "Oh, Maria, could you get a shirt that fits you? Gross." Or, "Oh, God, more virtue signaling on a t-shirt. Ew." It's just a totally benign statement. Right?
How to mulligan? Do you think that's true?
I do, because the deck's cards are all they fit into essentially two buckets. There's creatures with hexproof and things to put on them.
Just
Yeah.
wait.
A couple Leylines and a couple Paths is the only cards that aren't those. You really have to have a mix of those components to win, and I think inexperienced Bogles players will mulligan or will keep hands like 2 hexproof creatures, Leyline, 4 lands, or 3 auras, 3 lands, and a Path to Exile.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to mulligan to where you have a combination of them. Once you get to 5, of course, you get to be a lot less picky. You kind of have to keep whatever you get.
So someone in chat says, pretty cool that we're watching the most boring mirror match possible between two players that have never won anything. Nice feature match selection. So just to address that, bye.
Luis, quick question.
So the player was banned. Now, is it likely that Rich Hagon is friends with Maria since they work together? Yes. However, you are a paid commentator. You are doing a professional job. It is not your job to police the speech, especially when what they said was entirely benign. It wasn't a personal attack. It was relevant to the match going on. And Rich Hagon takes a moment to publicly shame this person. What this is a manifestation of the insiders, the in versus the out. And there are people, what these morons never understand is there are hundreds of other people watching it that probably felt the same way. And now that person got called out and banned for saying it. And they tune out. And they will never tune back in. Because if that is the attitude you're going to have, people aren't allowed to disagree, then why in the hell would they watch it? That's the point of the comment section. It isn't just there to fillet everybody. Ooh, the commentary is so good. Ooh, Maria's so woke with that t-shirt. Ooh, this is a great. Magic is the best. It's not natural. And people just get up and leave. They tune into somewhere else. You didn't even give the guy a chance. Why don't you answer his question instead of shaming him and banning him? Why don't you say, hey, we'd love to give you a more high power match, but all the pros are on buys, and we thought this would be interesting. Instead of simply banning the person for wrongthink. This is the trend that will continue to make Magic boring to watch and will continue to shrink the game.